It's Jared Wicks here from the Heel to the Face podcast, coming to you from my home on a Tuesday afternoon. The word came down yesterday officially that WrestleMania 36 will not take place at Raymond James Stadium. It will take place as of right now at the Performance Center. The reason I say as of right now is because there are some rumblings and rumors from some well-reputable sources on this Tuesday afternoon that maybe this is more or less a ploy to the insurance companies of WWE to make a good faith effort to find a new venue. But if that is not the case, and WrestleMania is coming from the Performance Center on April the 5th, I personally, for one, say this is a huge mistake. Now, before we even get to WrestleMania changing locations in general, or stopping or postponing or being canceled because of the whole COVID-19 virus that is going around the world, WrestleMania, regardless, even if it was postponed, would be a much different element when it comes to all the independent wrestling organizations, when it comes to all the events circling around the WWE calendar that are non-WWE related. We're talking WrestleCon, we're talking Ring of Honor, we're talking Kaiju Big Battle, we're talking World Wrestling Network, we're talking so much more. Personally, I had tickets to pool parties with Hulk Hogan at the Tampa Bay Hard Rock Seminole Casino. So much going around with WrestleMania being canceled, and even if it was postponed, it would be a much different circumstance. Now, the rumors are that this is an insurance ploy to maybe move WrestleMania to Madison Square Garden come June, which I guess is the best case scenario, and that is what I am still holding out. But if WrestleMania does happen on April 5th, 2020 from the WWE Performance Center, this might be a big and monumental moment in the world of professional wrestling, at least when it comes to myself and my fanhood. Now, I know lots of people will continue to be fans, especially if you're younger and you haven't been watching wrestling for a long period of time and you've never been on the fence about whether you're a WWE fan or not. I know a lot of us in our late 20s, early 30s have gone through phases and times where maybe we've tuned out from WWE, but personally, wrestling, a big deal in my life currently. Really big fan of what's been going on in the world of professional wrestling, both WWE and outside WWE lately. But moving WrestleMania, which to my eyes is not really just a wrestling event. It is a spectacle. What makes WrestleMania different from any other event is the spectacle. A lot of times house shows come through Central New York and people say, didn't wrestling just come through here? What is the difference between this show and the show that you're talking about being WrestleMania? And it's really the event of it all. So if WWE plans to sell us WrestleMania 36 as just a wrestling show in an empty performance center, then it is going to fall flat on its face. And the reason I say that is because simply the wrestling isn't the best in WWE. No one has ever claimed that WWE puts on the best wrestling show. They put on the most entertaining wrestling show. And especially when it comes to WrestleMania, my favorite part of WrestleMania is everything else but the wrestling. Sure, the matches have a lot of great build and there's a lot of big stars involved, but when it comes to this year's WrestleMania, I was so looking forward to the set designs, to the entrances, to just the sheer enormity of the crowd. And of course, with it being an outdoor WrestleMania, the fireworks and the pyrotechnics display, as always, would be unmatched. And now being from the training center, not even just a typical NBA or NHL arena, no pyrotechnics at all. We saw yesterday on Monday Night Raw when The Undertaker came to the ring, it was probably the most anticlimactic Undertaker entrance of all time, and that is supposed to be his entrance come WrestleMania 36. Now, so far, SmackDown and Raw have both proven with these two shows from the Performance Center that it's very hard to deliver even with a limited amount of wrestlers. They have had to put on the full tag team elimination chamber matches Friday on SmackDown, and this past Monday on Raw, they had to replay the entire 1-hour Royal Rumble from Houston, Texas, just about 2 months ago to fill the time, to fill the void. And the matches themselves, the 1 or 2 matches that are on these 3-hour shows that aren't just filler with highlight packages and clips from past WrestleManias, has been okay, but the noises that are being made. We saw Asuka on commentary on Monday Night Raw, and personally, I believe a part of that is to kind of mask the calling of the matches in the rings, the noises that are in the rings, the talking that is in the rings, all the things that you don't have to mask out when you have a live audience. WWE not just has a live audience there, but they specifically put microphones on said live audience to drown out the talk and everything going on within the squared circle. So your biggest event of the year just sounding like people hitting ropes and mats, it just, to my eyes, might hurt my view of WWE going forward, because frankly, as I mentioned in this video already, the wrestling in WWE has never been world renowned. If you want to watch great wrestling, that's what New Japan Wrestling is for. That is what Ring of Honor Wrestling is for. That is what All Elite AEW Wrestling is for. But the people who still stick it out with WWE know that they have the monopoly on the fact that it is sheer entertainment, that it is the biggest and it is the grandest, and there is no better display of that than WrestleMania. That is the one event where many wrestling fans my age go to that event and talk about what better wrestling matches they saw on the weekend outside of WrestleMania, but still go to WrestleMania to be a part of the spectacle. If WrestleMania is not a spectacle, and I think frankly it'll be a spectacle in one way or another if it's in an empty arena, but if it is not the grand spectacle, if it is not the feeling that it is a larger than life event, then it hurts the event. Then it is not an event. The tagline for WrestleMania is the grandest stage of them all. The part of that that's very important is stage. Just like any concert, just like any sort of mass production, the stage and the set designs are equally important to WWE as they are to any Broadway show or any concert stage. And really what makes the difference between a concert that is between a major act and a small act is sometimes the venue, sometimes the platform, sometimes the stage. So WrestleMania without all of that pomp and circumstance isn't WrestleMania. WrestleMania is an event where it is not always the best of the best. It is the matches that are scripted and predetermined to be at that event with the talent that they have on hand in that time and the best that they can do. Some of the matches are not anywhere near some of the best matches that they put on the year, but they have all the overwhelming circumstances surrounding the matches. They have the pyrotechnics, they have the fireworks. It's just not WrestleMania if it is not treated like WrestleMania. So while the event as of right now is scheduled to take place at the Performance Center in Orlando, it is not WrestleMania. My personal opinion is that at this time right now, and this is not coming from somebody who is, over dramatic or really looking for things to stop other than wrestling, more or less just thinking from a wrestling content perspective, I think it's time WWE puts on the hold bar, puts on the pause button, and stops all this live WWE action until the COVID-19 epidemic or pandemic comes to a close. Now, the reason why many people say they're going forward with WrestleMania is because we have these storylines and they're all written to go forward towards April 5th and the payoff on April 5th, 2020. But if wrestling could just be put on hold for the next couple of months or the next couple of weeks at least, when we pick things back up again, we can pick off right where we left off. We can pick up where Friday Night SmackDown is supposed to have Rob Gronkowski on hand, all these other events that really are not being done justice because they're in front of no crowd, and they even have to put in filler material because even a 2-hour SmackDown can't take place like normal in front of no crowd. So I don't understand how they're going to try for a 5 or 6 hour wrestling event known as WrestleMania. But if it does take place, it will be very interesting. I don't know where it will take my fanhood for WWE from here on out because, frankly, one of the events I look forward to every single year, and more or less the event that renews my fanhood in WWE, the time in which I realize why I like wrestling so much, is between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. I normally, after WrestleMania is over, kind of take a personal off-season. While I still watch wrestling and I'm still interested in wrestling, it doesn't bring me the same joy and enthusiasm that it does leading up to WrestleMania. WWE doesn't have an off-season, and many people think that WWE should, most of the time following WrestleMania. I think right now would be a great time to have an impromptu off-season for WWE. Pick this all back up when things clear, maybe in a month or two, air reruns of Raw and SmackDown during the time being, maybe some classic pay-per-views, maybe some classic segments, maybe even move that WWE backstage program, to a Friday night SmackDown or a Monday Night Raw setting where we talk about wrestling. But as for the storylines moving forward to WrestleMania and WrestleMania itself, I think what WWE is doing is not a good decision at all. And while I know that they'll be fine when all said and done because they are a billion-dollar company, this does not, to me, feel like they're thinking about the fans. It makes me think they're thinking about themselves. A lot of people on social media are using this as a way to say thank you to WWE for entertaining us in trying times, but that is not how I look at it. I look at it as they are trying to just worry about the bottom dollar. Tell me what you think. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Krock Jared. We will be following this heel to the face as much as we can. Brandon Clements is not here, as you see right now, with this update, but we hope to still be putting on our usual Heel to the Face podcast shows when we get a chance to. Obviously, circumstances have prevented us from doing the typical show as you'd imagine, but we will try to bring you as much content as possible, as the world of professional wrestling has not seemed to shut down, so we'll have lots to talk about. Once again, for Jared Wicks of the Heel to the Face podcast, stay safe out there, and Wrestlemania 36 coming to you as of this recording from the WWE Performance Center.